Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic, real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Welcome back. This time of year, we like to do a podcast that's designed to give those of you who are looking for direction in your real estate businesses a clear blueprint for what should be happening next or what you should be consider happening next in your business and your personal life. So the topic of today's show is stop winging it, unlock the blueprint for guaranteed real estate success. Because here's the thing. This is the time of year when a lot of agents are looking back at their year and they're looking forward to what they think their future will hold for them. And they're saying, this went well, this didn't go well. Are you ahead, behind, or on track with your particular goals? Did you have goals in the first place? What are the things that led you to having closed transactions? What are the things you spent time on that were frankly probably a waste of time? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to go through 8 very specific steps that all of you should be doing so that you can, I think, maybe hit hard reset on some of the decisions that you made in the past and then really clear the decks for the opportunities that await you in the future.
That's right. So take the guesswork out of real estate success by drilling down on what matters most. Whether you're brand new or feeling stuck in your career, these rules are going to guide you to thrive in real estate. This is a 2-part podcast series. You're going to have a 15-part blueprint at the end of the second part of this podcast series. So
this is for new agents. This is for agents that have been in the business for a long time. It's funny, Julie, it's usually the beginning of the year where I'll get calls and emails from agents that you and I, known and had coaching relationships with for 10, sometimes even 20 years. Mm-hmm. And they'll say, Tim, is it finally time I start doing this or consider doing that? Yeah. The same exact conversation that I maybe have had with them 2 or 3 years in a row.
That's right.
There's one couple in particular that always call me every year asking about whether they should switch brokerages. And I always give them my opinion and they never do it, But every single year that passes I always remind them, I know exactly when he's going to email me when he's super bored around in January. Yes, Michael, I'm talking about you. Okay. And then he's going to email me. He's going to say, Tim, what do you think? And I'm going to say, well, Michael, let's look to see how much money you spent in your brokerage in the last 5 years had you just made these other decisions. So we're going to be talking about all those types of things. And there are no sacred cows on any of our topics. Julie and I are only going to say and do what's best for real estate agents. We're going to tell you why we think the way we think. And yeah, a lot of times what we have, the information that we're going to be conveying to you is not necessarily in alignment with what's popular or trendy. You're not going to hear a lot of talk about branding or marketing or big teams or all these other types of things. We're going to focus on the actual things that you should actually be doing to make the most of what will be and very much will feel like a new real estate boom, which is happening now.
That's for sure. So first, the facts. According to the National Association of Realtors, 87% of realtors fail within their first 5 years. The top 1% of the agents earn over $500,000 annually, while the median income is around $50,000. With just 5 sales a year for many of you can hit that median income, often working part-time. That's not bad, but you can probably do a lot better when you follow some key implementations that we're going to talk to you about.
Now, it's important. $50,000 does not necessarily mean $50,000 in your pocket. You're going to have some personal expenses against and all those types of things. So when you're going through and you're hearing numbers like what Julie just gave you, those are, that's good benchmark numbers. But also remember that there's 1.5 million or so members in the National Association of Realtors, and half of them didn't sell a house in the last 24 months.
You mean not a house, no houses?
No houses. They sold no houses in the last 12 months. So a vast majority of the industry is essentially selling no houses or so few houses,
Shocking.
Like less than 3 per year.
Yeah, well, 20% of agents close. It's true, 80% of the transactions. And agents earning over $200,000 annually are also in that top performing 20%. So here's the question. Which percentage will you be in? Follow the 15 rules to join the top 10%, or better yet, the top 1%. If you choose to wing it, you're going to likely find yourself among that 87% failure rate within the first 5 years.
It's a good point. This is a good spot to maybe interject a little mindset. So we don't have this written down in our notes, but it's definitely worth knowing that if you're thinking that, for example, other people are achieving rates of success, and you are somehow at a disadvantage, you think somehow maybe, they have a better education than you, they're better looking than you, they're, better connected with you, all these things. You should write all those reasons down why you believe that you're not achieving the level of success that you think you should be, be deserving of. And you need to write down all of your excuses in your head, and you need to really address them. And you need to go, some of you are going to have long ass lists. I've done this very exercise at public events, private, masterminds and whatever. And people are very hesitant to do it at first. They always look at each other's notes and whatnot. But after you get people writing things down, even experienced agents always have a ridiculous number of excuses why they're not doing better. I'm not good at math. I'm dyslexic.
It's the market.
I have ADD. It's the market. I'm having problems with my whatever. All these things, right? So write all these things down and then run them through a filter. So Julie, do you remember the 3 questions?
Is it true?
Is it true what you wrote down? Are you too old to be successful? Is that true? Yes or no? Now, if you're like 114, the answer is probably yes. Yeah. But remember, we have people running for president that are in their 80s. So I'm going to guess that most of you listening right now, you're not too old to be successful. And some of the most successful people in businesses, just use as an example, were started by people in their 50s. So if whatever your excuse is, as you write down your litany of reasons why you can't be more successful in life and in general and in real estate specifically, write those things down and then run them through these 3 filters. First one, is it true what you just thought about yourself?
The second one is it absolutely provably true? That shows that you researched it or you thought about it or you didn't. The third one is, who are you because you believe it's true? And the fourth one is, who might you become when you decide that it's not actually true?
So it's 4 questions,
it's
not
4
3.
questions. That's okay.
That's okay. But you guys get the point, right? So when you go through these things, whatever it is, I do not have enough social connections in this particular community, and all the top agents grew up in the community and they have an advantage. They definitely do. But is that your reason for not being successful? Would you be surprised, dear listener? Many of you use that as your excuse for not going to upper end real estate markets. Would you be surprised to know that some of the most expensive areas in the country in terms of home sales are dominated by agents that didn't grow up in that community? Because what has a tendency to happen is you are actually put at a bit of a disadvantage if you grow up in that community. Because if you're a bootstrapping type and you move to a more expensive market, chances are you have less of a sense of entitlement or no sense of entitlement whatsoever. So you're going to work your butt off to deliver a high level of success on behalf of your buyers and your sellers. Where maybe agents that were grown up with a little bit more of entitlement, a little bit more, I think, advantage, if you want to use a real word, they're not necessarily going to work as hard. And those sellers, especially when they start to expire, are going to definitely seek out the services of somebody who's going to go the extra mile and not spend every afternoon at the tennis court. How do I know this is true? Julie and I did exactly that. Research it. We started out in a normal price range, and we moved up to the most expensive price range in Central Ohio. And we were able to take all of our, essentially, the skill set and the mindset that we had selling normal homes, and we were to apply it directly to selling most expensive homes. We had no social connections. We were totally duck out of water. Absolutely, we did not go to the fancy schools. We did not go to the...
We were the bootstrappers.
We are the bootstrappers, and the sellers adored us.
You know what? I remember them saying, because, in that position, you do have to compete. And I remember many times the most memorable one was a seller. I don't know if you remember this. I think the house was like $800,000 or $900,000, which at the time was all the money, big high-end listing for us. And they said, so-and-so that you were competing against came in here and acted assumptive. They just wanted us to sign right away, presumed that they had our business. And I think they even said something about throwing the fur coat on the table. And we didn't feel comfortable with that. We wanted somebody that was going to take care of us, who understood us, who listened to us. And that's why we're choosing you guys. It was because of what you said, that it was presumptive that the business was theirs.
But had we believed that we wouldn't ever be able to break into that market,
we wouldn't have been there in the first place.
We wouldn't have been in there in the first place. See, that's the point. So when you're going through the process of writing down all the reasons why you're not more successful, you run them through those 4 filters. Julie, again, those 4 filters.
Okay. So what is the belief? You state that up front. That's number 1. Number 2, is it actually true? Number 2, can you prove that it's true? Number 3 is, who do you believe? Who are you because you believe it's true? What are you doing or not doing because you have this belief? And number 4 is, if you let that belief go, who would you become as a result? So you can do that with many different things, right? So keep those in mind in your filters. All right. Now, the ultimate cure to that is a mantra that I like to use. It's called, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Because I don't care what your limiting belief is. If you say that to yourself over and over, if it's meant to be, it's up to me, I'm owning it. Maybe I don't have all the connections in the community I want to be selling in. Well, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Maybe I'm going to figure out, I don't care. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to talk to expireds. I'm going to do open houses. I'm going to door knock. I'm going to do whatever it takes, because if it's meant to be, it's up to me, nobody else.
It is worth noting that some of you might be in situations that are really not ever going to work to be conducive of accomplishing high levels of success. For example, you could be in a very, very rural market where, you have to, you're in some like West Texas, and you're not a rancher. You're not from around there, and you have to drive 15 miles just to get from one house to the next, all these things, right? You might be a total fish out of water, and you have chosen a bad area to try to basically sell real estate. Now, you can still do it, but the reality of it is when the going gets tough, the smart leave. I know that's counterintuitive, but it's true. So some of you might be in markets where the market essentially is not going to be there to deliver to you what your ambitions are, desiring. And that's going to be a time where you need to really be willing to, take a risk and change markets, maybe change states, maybe literally if you're someplace in a snowy tundra and you've always dreamt of living in Florida, maybe you need to move to Florida sooner than you think, those types of things.
Well, see, that would have come out with question number 2. Can I prove that what I'm believing, there's not enough houses to sell? I didn't grow up on a ranch. It's too hard to find anything I can even represent. Well, maybe you can prove that. And the result of that question is you should be making a change. So that's why you have those 4 questions.
Well, what we did, we were selling an average sale, the average sale price we had when we started selling real estate versus when we ended our real estate careers and became full-time coaches. It was 10x difference, something like that?
Huge difference.
And so, we wanted to make more money, not work as hard. Hey, how about that?
Sell the same amount of homes for 10x.
Or even sell half the homes
Yeah.
and make a lot more net income. That's
Exactly.
an idea.
There you
Well,
go.
how about this? What if you were in, someplace where you don't want to necessarily, you want to go to someplace sunnier, warmer, someplace where the sale price is 10x. Why don't you do it? What's holding you back? I mean, these are the types of thoughts you should allow yourself to have. You can do it. If you're successful in one market, you can definitely be successful in another market. And again, we're focusing a lot on the upper end because, frankly, that's where the best opportunity is. But in the upper end, you're also going to find that a lot of your competitors have the least amount of, dare I say, skills because they haven't had to, because a lot of their business they got from centers of influence and past clients, and their average commission has made it. So they really haven't had to have the pressure of ever having to really formalize a listing presentation or, frankly, learning scripts and objection handlers. And if you are successful in the meat and potatoes price range, you're going to absolutely kick ass in an upper end price range. All right. So we're going to go through again some of these points. Part 1, the first 8 rules of real estate success. And these are always true, and it's a great time of year to hit hard reset. Number 1, choose your broker wisely. This is so important. We have had so many coaching clients. It's almost always agents that have been in the business, say 1 to maybe 3 years. And they're now realizing that they basically found themselves in the wrong environment.
It could happen to anybody. If you're brand new and fresh, maybe you don't even know the right questions to ask, but if you're stuck at a brokerage, it could have happened to you at any point in your career. So it's okay to re-choose your broker. It's not just about commission splits. Does your broker offer stock awards, health insurance, daily education, and revenue share? Starting with the wrong brokerage or continuing at the wrong brokerage can be costly both in time and in money. So it's time to get it right. Here's an example. eXp Realty paid over $240 million in rev share last year and equity benefits, and that's a 20% increase from the previous year. So choose your broker wisely.
I was on someone else's podcast last week, and he asked me, why do we align with eXp Realty? And the answer to me was it was silly almost because it's the best thing for agents.
It is.
And there really are no exceptions because really at the end of the day, you're in business to help people make money. And if you can help people make money and have multiple streams of income as a result, well, that just makes more sense. Because as you grow older, as you grow more experienced in the real estate industry, dear newer agent listener, you're going to wish you would have made better decisions about not paying as much in commission split. How about that? I've had so many coaching calls with people that are considering joining us at eXp who have had, they didn't actually do the math on what they're paying their broker, and it's just
Common.
shocking. Well, I've had some, I think the record, if I remember correctly, was I ran the numbers. Someone who was thinking about moving to eXp, they had a really good sale price, but the amount of money that they paid their broker in the previous 12 months was almost 400 grand.
Yeah.
And had they been at EXP, the total amount they would have paid was 16 grand. And because they would have qualified for something called the Icon program, in essence, they would have gotten that money back through EXPI stock. So those are the types of things when you open your eyes to the reality. And markets like this, and this time of year, frankly, is what creates a lot of momentum for people to consider, well, maybe I'm at the wrong brokerage. I'm going to give you guys a little advanced coaching here. If you think you're at the wrong brokerage, you are. Okay? Most likely.
If you're having that thought at all, you probably are.
Right. But you have to go through those 4 questions that Julie gave you to really ascertain whether or not that's actually an accurate thought or whether you're just looking for excuses, right? Are you just looking for excuses that, you're expecting the broker to give you leads and all these other things where you should have learned how to proactively lead generate on your own? These are the types of thoughts. This is the time of year that you should be having those thoughts. And if you are a broker and you're kind of tired of being a broker, as usually is the case after a while, you also need to consider EXP. So we've created 2 paths for you to learn more about EXP. The first one is just to text the letters EXP to 47372. And then you're going to be connected to a website that explains all the benefits of joining EXP with Julie and I as your partners. So just text the words EXP to 47372. Or if you've not yet chosen a sponsor and you're looking to land the plane, whether you're a new agent or a really, really grizzled veteran, and you're considering Julie and I, let's have a conversation. Text me directly at 512-758-0206. 512-758-0206. Where most people are going to start is learning more about EXP is just text the letters EXP to 47372. But like I said, those of you who are actually ready to choose a sponsor and you've not yet committed to another sponsor, text me directly at 512-758-0206. And let's look at the math and let's make a decision based on facts. Let's decide where you want to be in 12 months financially, emotionally, and then, how we're going to get there.
It's a business decision at the end of the day.
It is, and it should be. And a lot of people, they're not, they believe that basically you choose a brokerage because your culture. That matters. You choose your brokerage because you like the people that are there. That matters. But, after a couple of years of selling real estate, what really matters is essentially how well you've been able to take care of yourself and your family.
Yeah, and you can still stay friends with people.
Yeah, exactly. And if they choose, when you leave, I don't want to leave all my friends. Okay, well, if you leave your friends and go to EXP because you're doing what's best for yourself and your family, and those friends burn a bridge with you, guess what? Those weren't friends.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, point number 2.
Okay, point number 2, commit to earning while you learn. You don't have to be perfect to start making money. Take action from day one. Building your skills does require 5 times more effort than you might expect to achieve the results that you want. But here's a tip. The best people to role play with are real prospects who are actively looking, especially to sell, but sometimes to buy as well. But the point here is to commit to earning while you learn. Earning while you learn. Don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. You've got to put one foot in front of the other and start taking action. Okay.
Julie, have you ever thought about this? That's such an important point. Honestly, we could just do a whole podcast on that.
Yes.
So many people come to life in general and just say, I'm going to get to work as soon as I've learned all these things or gotten everything perfected. Mm-hmm. So there's a great quote from Sheryl Sandberg. She says, done is better than perfect.
Yep.
And what a lot of you do is strive for perfect, but you've got to realize what you're really doing is you're just procrastinating.
I actually just listened to a podcast about perfectionism early this morning because sometimes I fall into that. I have coaching clients that say, well, I'm not doing it because it's not perfect yet. Well, so here's the thing. Perfectionism is procrastination cloaked, basically. And it's also, they talked a lot about what it really is fear of success, fear of failure, fear of being criticized, fear of not doing it right. Well, guess what? There is no perfect real estate deal. There is no perfect script. There is no perfect situation. Those of you who have transacted for a long time, you know this to be true.
Yep.
But the ones that are doing all of the deals are saying, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but I'm going to say, yes, it would be my pleasure to help you with that. And then I'm going to go to my coach and I'm going to get help. I'm going to proceed even if I'm a little bit uncomfortable. That's okay.
Your success or your lack of success is 100% your fault. That's really at the end of the day.
It's meant to be. It's up to me.
Yeah, 100%. The experiences you're having in life professionally are 100% because of what you did or didn't do in the past. Now, again, there's a reason we present this material this time of year is because we're hoping you guys are going to look forward and do a real survey of what what's going great in your business and what's not. And this is the time of year for you to hit hard reset on a lot of the decisions you've been making. One of the hardest decisions you're going to have to make, especially if you're a team or you're a brokerage, is a lot of you have been waiting around for the market to return so you can start making your business model that worked 3 to 5 years ago work again. Unfortunately, it's not going to work again, even as the sales start to flow again, because so many different things have changed. And the biggest nemesis to making those old business models work is the cost structures associated with them. There was no profit in a great market running some of those business models. There is going to be profit running those business models if you're willing to adapt to AI. So much of the profit that was going to a lot of the busy work, the processing of the transactions and all these different staff members some of these big teams have had, those are really going to be subject to being replaced with AI agents very, very soon, which just means that the team model will work again for the agents that are absolutely feverishly working towards using the latest technology. But again, you got to start with the mindset that is, if it's not working, it's my fault, and I have to make a decision as to what I'm actually going to do to improve upon it, and this is the perfect time of year to do it. Point number 3.
Build and expand your sphere of influence daily. Your sphere of influence, those are people who already know, love, and trust you, will likely account for your first 3 to 5 transactions when you're a new agent. And then what are you going to do? You're going to expand it. Use your smartphone to create a database and talk about real estate to everyone. We talk almost on every podcast about the Ford Memory Jogger. That stands for Family, Occupation, Recreation, and Dreams. That is what you talk to people about, focusing on occupation. What is it that you do for a living? And you would be surprised how many agents and even brokers are a little bit weird about answering that question with ease.
Now, some people say, and I've heard this on some of these fake YouTube coaches basically, where they'll say, why do people say go after your centers of influence and past clients, especially when you're a new agent? Because after all, they all know you just got your real estate license. Because they know, love, and trust you. That's why. That's the reason why.
They're logical deals.
They've already. No, I'm saying from the consumer's perspective, they've already got a connection to you. They already trust you. And that's going to be 99% of the game when you're trying to earn a listing. And the skill set you can learn on the job, going back to Julie's point number 2, commit to earning while you learn. So those are the types of things. Again, be careful who you guys are listening to for advice. Now, if you don't have any centers of influence and past clients, if you move to a new town, you don't know anybody, well, you can still build that business, but you have to build a multiple spokes business if you want to have any kind of meaningful momentum. Be you. This is what we talked about in the Rob Johnson interview on Monday, is be you, being you, doing what you like to do around other people like the same thing, and you're going to pick up business from it.
As long as you talk about real estate.
Right. Well, not overtly, but it'll come around to it.
Exactly.
Going to the gym, doing other things we talk a lot on this podcast. But then at the same time, learn to be frankly, this time of year, I'd 100% be perfecting my skills as an expired listing hunter. For sure.
For sure. Now, some of you don't talk to people in your center of influence or people at all because you don't know what to say or how to say it. So I made a note here for you to stay informed, have things to talk about. Use your local Board of Realtors newsletter, which is sitting in your email right now. Do you open it? Do you look at your local stats? Your hot sheet from your MLS, check platforms like List Reports, stay updated with industry podcasts like this, like Housing Wire. You do have to stay informed so you have some talking points. And by the way, there's a podcast coming up later this week that I put together for weekend talking points to help them have these conversations.
I saw it's a great podcast. Hey, I didn't tell you. So RedX extended the discount we're allowed to give these guys.
Awesome.
All right. So listen, a lot of you are wanting to go after expireds, but let's be honest, getting the information, the phone numbers and all the, is it relisted? What was the last list price? What's the history of all these things? All these data points is a massive pain in the ass. And so what RedX does is it goes into your MLS for you, acts as your virtual assistant, and searches out all the newly expired information, and then also finds the phone numbers. You guys probably don't know this, but finding phone numbers are essentially is very, very expensive. So they buy the access to the lists, they get the phone numbers, they then say these are the listings that expired in your MLS. This today, and here are all the phone numbers, and here's the other information, we have them. And then you guys use our scripts and our objection handlers and all the rest of it to start setting appointments. It's not any more difficult than that. I know you want to make it more difficult, but it's not. So if you want access to that RedX information, which all of you should have, frankly, is just text the word RED, R-E-D, to 47372. Text the word RED, R-E-D, to 47372. And we will text you back a link where you can join RedX and get a $150 discount. Now, I'm going to suggest advanced coaching here. Definitely request the older expireds. Maybe they'll sell you the information that's a year old. Older expireds that haven't been relisted are gold because they're not getting solicited from anyone, and they don't know. Probably their house listed or expired before, maybe because it was overpriced. Well, guess what? The price is probably right as rain, because in the last 12 months from when it expired, the house has actually increased in value. So definitely be thinking about that. Text the word RED, R-E-D, to 47372.
That's very true. Actually, I just read a report on that the average price reduction is less than 5%, right? So people think, I'm going to take an expired and I've got to slash the price. Well, if it expired last year, guess what the average appreciation has been this year? 5%.
Exactly.
So you're totally fine.
Right. You call them up and say, guess what? I
have good news.
I have good news for you. The house is now worth what you had it for sale for, maybe even a little bit more. So
exactly. Okay. All things that we talk about extensively in Premier Coaching.
Right. And guys, remember, Premier Coaching, you can join for 30 days for free. And this is a great way for you to build momentum into next year as a listing agent. Text the word Premier, P-R-E-M-E-I-E-R, right?
P-R-E-M-I-E-R.
Or go to Premier Coaching, but text the word Premier. How do you spell it again?
P-R-E-M-I-E-R.
Right, to 47372, or just go to premiercoaching.com and you can join Premier Coaching for free for the first 30 days. And that does include a daily workday semi-private coaching call with one of our Harris certified coaches. Julie, one more point.
All right, number 4, focus on dollar productive activities. Spend 90% of your time on what generates income. That's proactive lead generation, furiously fast lead follow-up, pre-qualifying, presenting, negotiating, and closing. Lather, rinse, repeat. All of my private coaching clients have that list memorized, because these are the things that are the real work of real estate. These are the things that actually make you money. Now, the most important thing on that list is to generate the lead in the first place. If you don't do that, you'll have nothing to follow up on. You'll have no one to present to, nothing to negotiate, and of course, no closing. So focus on that proactive lead generation.
Okay, so let's do a little fun game around that last point.
Sure.
And so Julie and I have done this in front of thousands of agents before. And this is a question we always like to ask. It's a game. Ready? Theme game music, Julie? Okay, so here's the game. You have to take, I'm going to choose something I know all of you can do. 5 listings in the next 30 days, and you win this ridiculously amazing prize. Let's just say it's $1 million in cash or gold or Bitcoin, whatever the hell you want. But it's $1 million, no taxes on it in 30 days, and you have to take 5 listings. And these 5 listings have to be, motivated, have to sell sellers, have to be, sellers that are price, right, condition, location, good sellers. Mm-hmm. You're not just going to go to your buddies and say, you're not going to game it, okay? You have to be real legit sellers. You have to take 5 listings in the next 30 days and you get $1 million. Oh, and you still get all the business and the income that comes from having sold those houses. So the question I have for you, ready, is what would you stop doing?
Oh, that was a trick question.
It was. You guys thought I was going to ask the opposite of that. Nope. What would you stop doing? I have so many memories of you and I asking that question, because people laugh when they realize we kind of spun it on them. Mm-hmm. But what would you stop doing? And then people write it down, and then I'll have them say what they would stop doing. And you know what they'd said they'd stop doing? You damn well know what they said they'd stop doing. Spending time on social media, making all these videos. They know exactly what they'd have to do to take 5 listings in the next 30 days. I'd stop spending so much time, doom scrolling about this or doing all these other things. Write it all down. What are the things you'd stop doing? If your only goal, your number one goal in life was to take 5 listings in the next 30 days, what would you stop doing? You'd stop.
Here's one, waiting.
Yeah, you stop procrastinating. Exactly. Right? You do all these things. All right. Now the next question is, all right, so what would you be doing to take 5? Now you've cleared the decks. And you're no longer doing all those things that, oh, by the way, you already knew would not result in immediate business. So what are you going to be doing? And every single one of you knows what you'd be doing. You'd be picking up the phone. You'd be doing proactive lead generation. You'd be doing the real work of real estate. You know exactly what you would be doing. So here's the question ultimately. How much better off would you be rolling into the new year with 5 listings? Like a hell of a lot better. Some of you it's 10, 15, 20. Some of it's 3, right? Why don't you stop doing the things that aren't putting money in your pocket in the next 90 days or less, and start just focusing all your best energies every single day on doing the things that will result in you putting yourself in a position to help other people and make money, right? That's your filter. What are the dollar productive activities you should be spending 90% of your time on? It's going to be proactive lead generation, not the stuff that all of you are believing you should be doing. Oh, I'm building a brand. You know how you build a brand? Take 5 listings, then you have a bunch of listings in a neighborhood or several neighborhoods. Then the neighbors remember you sold the house. You sold the house to a buyer. You now have a past client. You pick up more listings. You have a brand that's actually built on being successful, not trying to spend a lot of money trying to convince people you're successful when you're actually not selling any real estate. You guys get it? You see the difference? That's the heart and soul and the essence of what Julie and I do our best to try to get all of you to understand there's an unlimited amount of opportunity out there, frankly, because we don't speak to every agent out there. We speak to thousands of you every day, but not 1.5 million. And so that tells me there's a lot of agents out there that are getting a lot of bad information, which means the opportunity for you in your marketplace to be a proactive lead generator is far bigger than you probably have ever considered.
That's right. Do you want to wrap or do you want to do this one?
We'll do that tomorrow.
Okay. So what should they be doing for homework?
Well, I mean, hopefully they're feeling educated, motivated, and they're going to get into action. So what I would do,
out.
I mean, after having read these points, is I absolutely would be saying, okay, I'm tired of my own bullshit. I actually want to learn how to be an expired listing agent or a listing agent in general. So I joined Premier Coaching.
Yep.
Because that's going to be your, unfair advantage going into the new year.
And get the coaching that you need from the coaches who are actually out there in the field. All of our coaches are licensed. All of them are, trained by us, and all of them are actively selling.
Now, that said, if I find myself in a brokerage situation or like if I'm the number one agent of a broker and I've been the number one agent forever, you need to upgrade, okay? Because congratulations, you, for being a big fish in a small pond, but you now need to put yourself where you're going to be a small fish in a big pond, and that's going to cause you to actually go to the next level. If you're in a market which isn't going to reward you for the efforts that you're putting into it for a variety of reasons, then you need to take responsibility for that, and you need to change markets. I mean, that's, Julie and I personally did that. A lot of people hire us to be their coaches because they want to do exactly that. They've been in this market forever. They realize the homes that they're selling, that they've been, selling forever, essentially are being outdated by more modern, newer construction. There's newer communities in other areas of town that are making their community look, again, obsolete. Home sales are taking longer. Sellers are getting cranky because price reductions are happening. You're selling an obsolete product and the market doesn't want what you're trying to sell. It's right. You guys get it? It'd be like you trying to sell an 8-track player in a digital world. Same thing. That happens in real estate, guys. Real estate becomes obsolete just like everything else does. Those are the types of thoughts you should be having. And again, it all starts with your broker. It all starts with the people you're surrounding yourself with. It all starts the environment you choose to put yourself in real life, in digitally, what you're allowing in your head. You guys get where we're coming from? This could be the very start of a new you at the highest level, more than you could possibly imagine. But you have to start with the acceptance of the fact that maybe you need to change your environment. Maybe you need to change your broker. We talked to you guys about why we're so supportive of EXP. Text the letters EXP to 47372. Or if you're ready to join EXP, text me directly at 512-758-0206. But really give yourself an opportunity. Now, you might go through your list, your mental, if you've written down some things, and some of the things you're doing are really working well. Well, amplify those and do those things at a high level. Identify what's working really well and get better at it, right? Take it to the next level. It's awesome that you're great at working your centers of influence and past clients. How can we take that to the next level? It's amazing that you're good at for sale by owners. How can we take that to the next level? This is the time of year, again, to really shake yourself out of complacency.
That's right. So most of you, many of you, probably all of you should be in Premier Coaching. But for a few select listeners, maybe I would love to be your coach. That what you just mentioned is a very common thing in my private coaching schedule. You want to upgrade everything. You've not just survived, you're killing it in real estate, but maybe you feel like you're stuck at like 40 million. Nice place to be stuck at. But maybe, you realize that you're doing a great job with your past clients in Sphere, but you can do more. You can systematize. Maybe you want to move to another market. Maybe you want to go upscale. Maybe you want to break in faster and become an expired hunter wherever you're moving to. That's a common theme in my private schedule. So if that's something you're interested in, then you can reach out. You can text him to that same number that he gave you.
512-758-0206 if you want to talk with Julie about being in her private schedule. But I have to warn you, just so you know, when you text me, I would say, please give me a little brief bio on you. Because if you're not pretty well established in your business and you're not financially able, what I'm going to tell you to do is join Premier Coaching.
Then that's fine. That's great.
That's fine. Premier Coaching is a great place for you to build momentum because Julie's expensive and she's highly selective and she only has a handful of clients. But if you want to be in her schedule, text me directly at 512-758-0206. In the meantime, you guys have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.